So BET has suspended the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. I'm going to tell you why that's bad news.
Trap music history expert A.R. Shaw.
A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw.
A.R. Shaw, author of Trap History, Atlantic Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music.
So welcome back to the channel. This is A.R. Shaw, A.R. Shaw TV. I am the author of the book Trap History, Atlantic Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music. Definitely check that book out. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's definitely have a dialogue on what we discussed today. All right, I'm gonna get right into it. BET. They've pretty much announced some really some shocking changes about what's happening with two of their biggest signature shows, the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. Now, BET Scott Mills, who's the CEO of BET at this moment, has came out and said that there will be a suspension of the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. I'm gonna read you a comment of what Scott Mills had to say. He said that so for BET Linear, we have suspended the Soul Train and Hip Hop Award shows, but we have a team that's actively thinking about where those award shows might best live as the media climate continues to evolve. They aren't gone, and we also still have the NAACP Image Awards and the Stellar Awards. So I have a lot of thoughts about this. In media, I've been in media for nearly 2 decades, and I've covered the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. I would say roughly about 15 years during my career, and I could go back to the first BET Awards, which was in Atlanta. I was pretty much a young writer coming up. My first year as a journalist, that was actually BET's first year having the BET Hip Hop Awards. And I remember the executive producer at the time, she pretty much allowed me to pretty much get the behind the scenes of how the production went from beginning to end, what was happening behind stage, from the production crews to the talent to how this entire thing went together. And so, that was like my first experience pretty much seeing how an award show unfolds. And I was able to do an article in Rolling Out magazine about the production, the behind the scenes production of the BET Hip Hop Awards. And for me, it was just always always a good time when you can pretty much celebrate Black culture in its rawest moments and in its rawest form. Because I've covered the Grammy Awards, I've covered the Oscars, I've covered the American Music Awards, and although they kind of they have every now and then they have categories that's geared towards Black music. The BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards was really about Black music, Black culture, and really just awarding those who have done tremendous jobs throughout the years. Now, I'm gonna tell you why this suspension is bad news. Now, some people are saying that this is coming from the larger company, saying that there's cutbacks in terms of funding for the show. I don't know if there's any proof of that. There haven't been any, as of not right now, there hasn't been any proof of saying that the Paramount company has made any cutbacks to BET in that form of taking away those two shows. Like they said, Scott Mills said they still have the NAACP Image Award, which is always used, and also the Stellar Awards and the BET Awards, which is pretty much the biggest BET show that happens every year, because they pretty much got rid of most of their original programming outside of those award shows. And so it's just interesting to see what's going to happen next. Now, I'm online and I'm seeing a lot of people that are pretty much going at BET saying good riddance in terms of the BET Hip Hop Awards, saying that it wasn't I guess it would be kind of went down over the years, but I look at it from like a 360 approach, and people don't really understand in terms of the impact of an award show that it has on the city and for the people that work there. You got to think about all the jobs that are being lost because the BET Hip Hop Awards or the Soul Train Awards won't be around anymore. Think about all the jobs that are created when you have an award show. beyond the production staff, beyond the publicists, beyond the talent managers, beyond the DJs. Think about the ancillary people that are going to get paid from having an award show. You got the stylists that are going to get paid. You got the makeup artists. You got the barbers. You got bartenders. You got individuals who have their own car companies, individuals who have their own clothing brands. There's a lot of, in terms of, festivities, there's a lot of events that are around those awards, not just the award show, but you have different, panel discussions, you have club events. You think about the restaurants that are gonna lose out. So there's a lot of things that happens that, it fuels the economy when you have an award show. And when that award show is no longer, then you got to think about the money that's being missed when those award shows go away. Of course, the BET Hip Hop Awards have been in Atlanta multiple years. Like I said, I've covered pretty much every BET Hip Hop Awards show that I could think of. I didn't cover it last year because I think they did it in Drea's. It was a very scaled down BET Hip Hop Awards last year. But the year before that, they had it in Atlanta at the Cobb Energy Center. And so that was pretty much, to me, that was one of the biggest ones. LL Cool J, he was honored. I think they honored major DJs like DJ Red Alert, DJ Drama. They had this entire thing where they, Jermaine Dupri paid homage to Atlanta culture. So, I think, we have to really, speak out and try to figure out how do we get these moments back, because these are important moments for our culture, and to really, capture these moments, and for it to go away, it's going to take away a lot in terms of just feeling that. How do we feel that space? Now, moving forward, there's, like I say, that Scott Mills said something right. The media climate has changed, is evolving in a lot of ways, particularly because everybody can be media at this point, and media is being consumed in so many different ways. But I think if we show the power of our culture and the power of what we represent, I think there's no denying the numbers. And so we have to support things like BET. We have to support those companies that support us. And so, moving forward, I just hope that the BET Hip Hop Awards comes back. I hope the Soul Train Awards comes back, because to me those are like two of the biggest moments that I can think of in terms of my career as a journalist, covering those award shows and just being on those red carpets and actually going to the show, and just like I said, being involved in those festivities around the show just shows you a lot, things that we can do when we come together. And like I said, it was always love. It was always camaraderie. It was always a good time, when you could pretty much see everybody from different cities come together for these moments. And we're gonna miss that now. But like I say, moving forward, let's just try to support each other, because, man, I'm telling you, it's an attack on our culture. So we got to do our best to really support those who support us. I want to hear what you guys got to say. Again, I am A.R. Shaw, the author of the book Trap History, Atlanta Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think about the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards being suspended? Let me know your thoughts.